Hi guys, welcome back to Russian Libertas Corpus YouTube channel where we, Alexei Postnikov and Gala Bogatova, are talking about Russian politics, Russian society, all over Russian issues and stuff. So the last time we were addressing some comments and particularly one that...
You were really touched by the term that somebody prescribed us, that we are peasants and feudal society.
Yeah, so the thing is, it's first of all, because of the context, it was derogatory. So it was the way to put someone down. So I'm opposing to that.
But
No, the thing is that I think it existed as sort of I would say academic metaphor that Russian Federation is a neo-feudal country, because it does have some, I would say, pretty feudal practices under Putin's regime.
I wouldn't say it's feudal. I wouldn't say it's even metaphorically feudal. I would say that there are interesting elements that are intrinsic to Russian Federation that were characteristic to feudal societies. That's how I would put it, because I think it's still not correct to say that Russian society became feudal. It's just not true.
No, it's not about Russian society. It's about Russian
system.
Administrative
even
system.
Administrative system. It doesn't reflect it in a full-fledged
Well, that's
way,
why it's neo-feudalism.
Okay, that's your terminology. You invented it. I have no.
No, I did not. No, I did not invent.
I did not contribute in this. Okay. It's just imagination of my colleague.
No, it's I don't remember who first used this term. It wasn't me.
I cannot say without a written reference.
Right. Okay. Well, anyway, also what kind of made me think about it once again is so-called election. There were so-called elections in Russia in September, but it doesn't matter. They all not even... I can't even use the word rigged because they just... Anyway, so one of the new governors who were elected was in the Omsk region, or Omskaya Oblast. His name is Vitaly Hatsenko, and his career path is like what strikes me as like this is as feudal as you can get. Because who's this guy? So this guy was just trying to make a political career, was bumbling around like a low level,
just a bureaucrat.
Yeah. Then he goes and does some administrative work where on the occupied territories, the territories that Russia occupied during this war with Ukraine. And after that, after like a few months on the occupied territories, boom, Putin puts him in charge of the Omsk region. And 6 months after he kind of just sent him to Omsk, we had this election, and now he's officially like elected governor of Omsk. So that's exactly what was happening in the medieval Europe, or like basically any not even Europe, any feudal society. The way to make a name for yourself and make a progress in your career is to go to the war, do something. Well, back then, I would say you would need to do something more than just being there. Mm-hmm. But you go to the war, you get noticed, you got some land, here you go, success. So that kind of is similar. But the irony is, even before that, I would say Putin's system was in some ways, were implementing the same practices as medieval time. The practice of like Putin's vertical of power is in a way similar to the system of vassals and suzerains and feudal system. So like Putin, let's say king, he has a close circle of people who he trusts, And those people are the most, in a way, like barons, because they were put in the most profitable fields, because it's not, that's neo-feudalism, because it's not only about the land. For example, brothers Rothenberg were put in charge of construction, so they started to get all the government construction contracts, and like they got a lot of money. And yes, what?
So Rothenbergs, they have nothing to do with the construction in terms of expertise or experience. They are there just because they were set up by Putin. Because they were in a close circle, so like vassals. And same goes with Hatsenko, because we did mention the fact that he doesn't have anything to do with Omsk. He's just appointed by the president after he's proved his loyalty in the occupied territories. So this is an interesting pattern where the governors of the regions have nothing to do with those regions. It's just they are assigned to manage this land. They become landlords of this part of the country just because they're the vassals of the king.
And what's interesting and kind of ironic, so first of all, this whole system of sending governors or sending people who not connected to the specific region at all from some other place, that's fairly recent practice. It started in like middle 2010s, so it's before that it was a little bit different. And I think we should make another video about the 90s and the fall of the system of local power, because that's a big topic and I want to talk about it more.
That's the process that led to the current situation of feudalism.
But who was the previous governor of Omsk Oblast? His name was Alexander Burkov, and so it happens he's from Sverdlovskaya Oblast, which is Sverdlovsk region, my region. So at some point he was sent to completely another area to be a governor there. The thing, though, as a politician, as opposed to Hatsenko, he was in my hometown. He was pretty noticeable. It's not like he was a nobody. He was a politician in the 90s, and then after that, so he had some weight. First of all, he's not in Russia United, which is the main party in Russia, Putin's party. Well, all the parties are now Putin's parties, but they have like different names. So if your name is not Russia United, you kind of just a little bit like a different shade of shit, something like that, but not the main course. Okay. Well, anyway, so my point is he was sort of a real politician with a real political background. He was doing some real campaigns. He was trying to get elected. He was trying to get elected as a mayor of Yekaterinburg. He lost to Evgeny Roizman. I don't know if you heard that name. You might heard.
We're not. I hope we are not deviating.
No, we're not deviating.
But if you have any questions about who Roizman is, please drop a comment down below, and we will share.
But my point is, so we have, like, imagine the situation. He's fairly loyal to the system, real politician with real political background from Yekaterinburg. You might think like, well, maybe he's loyal, he's fine. People know him in Yekaterinburg. So if you put him in charge of Sverdlovsk region, which is Yekaterinburg,
that would be logical.
That's logical, right?
But why Omsk?
That's why. So the idea is, since Putin started to do this whole like switching position things,
it's just to keep the power in his hands. So okay, this is a professional politician. He is going to be successful either way. So it's better if I control his position geographically. Then he would just do it himself in the region that he succeeds.
No, well, in a way,
is that the logic?
Well, in a way, when you're sending someone new and completely detached from a region,
right? It's not effective.
well, first of all, it's really hard. Like, basically, you need to start over to gain like a recognition in your region. So you probably won't have like any serious people support. So you basically the only one who you're depending on is Putin. Or people in his administration.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. So basically, that's like detaching.
Divide and rule.
Well, yeah, in a way, yeah. So, again, it's a fairly recent practice, which also kind of corresponds with the, I would say, pretty feudal practices where, like, let's send or maybe a little bit colonial. Oh, like, let's send this guy to this territory. He's gonna, do some administrative work, and he's gonna answer to us, not to the people of this territory.
Yeah, so his power vertical that he has built in the early 2000 has become not just a vertical, but a colonial practice that extends feudal system over the power structure in the Russian government.
Because when everything is based on, I would say, like upward dependency.
Bottom up relationship.
Then the system is not about sending. You might think that the vertical of power is like, okay, we send in the signal from top to top down, and then the vertical of power gives us kind of a fast response, direct response to the signal from up there. But in a way, it's more of a reverse system of dependency and loyalty and all that. So the point of that Putin's vertical is not to
give directions, but to create dependency. That's exactly feudal.
And that's why the whole system is not effective, because it's really hard, even if Putin like decide to tweak something in the system, it's not gonna go like well and effectively, because the system was not designed to do that. It was designed to keep people in control who like below you.
So this desire to control people in the regions create extreme ineffectiveness, because people who are placed there are either unfamiliar with the area or they're straightforwardly ignorant about what's going on, because they're not really knowledgeable about this particular region. And on the other hand, they don't have specific directions about how exactly to rule this place. They are just landlords that received a new land to rule, and they really don't have a good idea about how to do it. At the same time, they are pretty dependent, because it is the king that assigned them this territory.
And when another quick example, when not everything goes according to Putin's plan, let's take Khabarovsk region, where a few years back, I think in 2018, there was an election where actually not the administrative candidate won, but the local guy who was supposed to be just like a sparring partner for the Russia United candidate. But people generally people pissed everywhere, but if the electoral system could not fix the results the way that the administrative candidate wins in the first round, second round they always lose. So that happened in Khabarovsk, and that kind of a safe sparring partner for main candidate won, and he was a local guy, so he had some connection to the people. He was kind of known among them, and in 2 years he turned out he kind of did a good job of being a governor, and people really like him. So when his rating was too high and like higher than Putin's rating, they just put him in prison, which led to massive ongoing protests for several months of people in Khabarovsk. For months, they were marching every day, protesting and, trying to at least move the
trial
to Khabarovsk.
Yeah.
I mean, it failed because, again, like Putin's system responds to that really harsh.
This is the case of how Putin maintains the feudal system if something goes out of control.
Yes.
I'm wondering, guys, how you would characterize this. Do you think it sounds like a feudal society or a feudal, but rather feudal governmental system? And how do you see, maybe you can name some examples that you probably heard of in other countries to create sort of comparative analysis so we could draw it from there and see that we're not alone here. Or you can just express your opinion and emotions about what is happening, and maybe there will be more understanding about why the Russian people are so restrained in their actions, because they don't even have any efficient access to power, and the power doesn't really have access to them.
Yeah, and they're really disconnected from people who are put to govern them.
Right, so there is a total disconnection.
Yes.
At this point, please drop the comments, ask your questions, express your opinions.
Yeah. Also like the video, subscribe to the channel. Okay, also small remark, really small. The problem with this like constant changing the governors is like every next governor in the specific place tend to be kind of worse, more stupid, less political than the previous one. Like, for example, in Omsk, they had a guy not from Omsk, but who was a real politician, which is always like better because at least he knows how, to work with people, at least. Now they got this guy. So, yeah, like, that's the negative selection of Putin's system, in action. So, yeah, small remark. And please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.